Cool. It looks like we are streaming. Let me go ahead and readjust some of this. I readjusted the wrong thing. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Streamline Podcast. I'm your boy Narik Chase, and in this video, we are going to be talking about, of course, Hancock 2, what's going on with it, what we would like to see, ideas, possible casting choices, just things like that in general. Look, I have to say, I really enjoyed the first Hancock. I thought it was a great movie. I thought it was funny. I thought it had a lot of new elements to it that haven't really been explored in other superhero films. It was really good. I really enjoyed the characters. I thought it was actually a pretty original idea as well. Um, you have to forgive me because I'm messing with this. But like I said, Hancock was a really good movie. Yes, the movie did have its share of flaws. One of them being like the villains, which I really didn't mind the villains, but Hancock is one of those films where you come up with a really interesting idea and concept, and your fans kind of want to hold your feet to the fire as far as a sequel has been concerned. Now, for those who don't know, Hancock is a 2008 superhero comedy film starring Will Smith, Charlize Theron, and Jason Bateman, and it's essentially following this superhero named John Hancock who has amnesia, doesn't know who he is, where he's come from, his people, anything like that, and he's just superpower hero. He's basically Superman minus the laser vision and the super breath and stuff like that. He's super fat, where he's invulnerable, super strength, and also can fly. And the bulk of the film is him developing as a person because he's a superhero, but he feels like an outcast, especially with the collateral damage he tends to do while doing superhero acts. He's a drunkard. He just give a shit about people, and he ends up coming across Jason Bateman's character, who ends up saying, "Okay, let's go ahead and fix your public image." So that's what the bulk of the film is: him trying to better his image so that people see him in a better light. So there's more to the story as well, especially the secret regarding Charlize Theron's character, as well as the villains and things like that. But the movie, that's basically the bulk of the movie. It's a really good movie. People should definitely check it out, and definitely should support and kind of put the pressure on these guys for a sequel, because out of all these movies that get a sequel that don't deserve it, that don't need a sequel, a movie that we do have that deserves a sequel doesn't get a sequel. So that's where we're at with the Hancock. Forgive me. I don't know why I did that. Honestly, I got my damn near full 8 hours of sleep. But hey. But anyways, guys, I did write down a list of ideas which I want to explore for a Hancock sequel. And I'm going to pull up some things that I saw on the internet as well. Look, I'm all for Will Smith. I think Will Smith's a talented actor. But I know he doesn't like to really do. I've heard that he doesn't like to do sequels like that, which is why I think Bad Boys 3 was one of the reasons Bad Boys 3 didn't get a sequel. I mean, Bad Boys 3 has been going through basically development hell. It was about two other movies he's played in that I can't really think of off the top of my head that deserve. I think Independence Day was one of them where he didn't really want to play in the movie, which very unfortunate. But yes, what else is there? Okay, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, but that's basically where we're at on this. And I'm like, look, Will Smith, you are a great actor. You're good with action. You're good with drama. I like you in comedy. But look, dude, if you get into a movie that's like freaking brilliant and that's a great idea, like Hancock is, come on now, dude. I need to jump on the train with us and start throwing out these movies, because I'm one of those people. I love seeing a good idea being fleshed out, and Hancock is a pretty good idea. You're in this world where these people who are basically gods are, you know, damn it, I'm so tired. I don't know why I'm doing that. So every time I get on camera, just gosh. But anyways, yes, you got a pretty good idea, and with these people with gods, and I want to kind of see that go into these different directions and stuff like that. And let's see how I would like to see flashbacks of how these people have influenced history, as well as are they responsible for some of these major disasters that's happened. So it'd be like I said, this definitely has a lot of great potential for like just a great. And I'm not the one to just throw out trilogies like that, but I wouldn't really mind seeing Hancock be a trilogy. But this is one thing I did right. I said pull a Man of Steel, have a section of surviving members of Hancock's race try to recruit Hancock to take over the world. Now that could go in two different ways. It could be some that are good that are fighting against the bad, or there could be the obvious bad guys that were sealed away, and now they're on Earth, and now they feel like they're entitled to, that their gods and their humans just deserve to serve them, or they should try to eradicate humans. So it's like I would not mind that story. I mean, it's hardly the first. I don't think Man of Steel is the first movie to actually come out with that storyline. In fact, I know it's not. It's definitely not. But I wouldn't mind seeing Hancock take that same approach. Now, at this time, he's a superhero. People enjoy him. People like him. Like to see where his character is gone. He's developed, and then he ends up finding out there's another. There's more surviving members of the race. Now, whether they were sealed away or they were isolated, or isolated themselves, or banished themselves, or whatever. Okay, that's for the writing or something like that. But I wouldn't mind seeing that he comes across a race of people that he thought, his people that he thought were gone, and here they are. Now, I wouldn't, and now to tie this up in a really nice bow and connect it to the first film, Charlize Theron in the first film did say that that they were basically the last surviving members of the race. Now, she could have been lying, and I would like for Hancock to address that to her, like, okay, you told me that we were the last of our kind, and she could say, yes, but I was trying to protect us, I'm trying to protect humanity, I was trying to protect you, that these guys aren't the good guys, they are the bad guys. Or it could be she was like, yeah, I thought we were the last of our kind as well, which goes into which lets the other members of the race come back and be like, okay, this is the reason why we acted like we were the last ones alive. We got transported to another dimension. We went and stayed under the earth. Just stuff like that. We went to outer space. Now, one thing and this kind of goes to this too. If there is going to be a mention of more characters, which they said, and like I was reading it up on Wikipedia that the director or the writer was talking about, they wanted to see a third super immortal being in play. And like I said, I think a third, just even having one more would make for an interesting dynamic. Yes, there would be comedy. Yes, there would be drama. But I want to see more. Well, I'm going to get to that point later. But if there are new characters, new immortals that are going to be introduced in this movie, definitely there should be more backstory. There should be some origins. Give us some flashbacks. And like I said, I would like to see how they influenced ancient Egypt, how they influenced the American Revolution, how they influenced, Hitler's rise to power, like Genghis Khan. Like, I want to see how these people have influenced history time and time again, with maybe not just the natural disasters, but maybe like some of the movements with humanity, so better or for worse. So there is that. So that I would not mind having either. And like I said, it's cool if they would have at least one more member, but I wouldn't mind just to pull that Man of Steel, have these faction of immortals be like, look, we're going to take over the world. So I could roll with that. Definitely. One of the things that shined about Hancock was the fact that it focused so much on the characters, and that's what made the movie very unique. Yes, they were Hancock's superhero. He's an immortal. He has all these great powers, but all of that would have been null and void had the film just made him just this cardboard character. No, he's a very complicated character, and the movie gave a lot of great exposition and focus on that character. But if there is going to be a third immortal, or more immortals being in play, I definitely would like to see more super on super action. I want to see not only these immortals fighting people. I also want to see, just immortals going against immortals. The absolute best example I can give for this, and if they do it, I hope they don't rip, completely do some scene for scene stuff for Superman from Man of Steel. But Man of Steel is the most iconic when it comes to this guy like got this guy like beings fighting on screen presentation wise. Like, can you imagine if the first Hancock movie, Charlize Theron and Will Smith were doing basically the Superman and Zod fight because of the collateral damage and how powerful they are? Like, that's how the fight should have went. Look, I thought the fight was entertaining in Hancock, but Man of Steel just completely blew that out the water. The movie with Hancock, they need to not hold no punches with him having to go all out with another super human character. Like, that'd be completely badass. Regardless of if Hancock has to fight humans or if he has to fight or if another super is fighting humans, we need to definitely get some of that Feora versus the army type battle, because she went ham on them. And like I said, the movie's going to be basically, it's going to be focused on characters, but the action needs to be on point. We need to see collateral damage. There needs to be people dying. Look, I know they're trying to keep it to where people don't die, but like, if having godlike beings fight each other and them getting thrown to buildings ain't really nothing to them. So, and if they're fighting in the city, which was one of the things in the first Hancock, I'm like, they summoned tornadoes. Shouldn't there have been a lot more collateral damage and people dying and stuff like that? I mean, it was an interesting concept. And also, if them fighting made like that natural disaster happen, like, will that also extend to like other natural disasters that happen in them? Because I didn't really think about that. I mean, think about it. Pompeii. What if there was like two of them fighting and it just causes volcano to erupt? And also, if them fighting each other cause these natural disasters, would that be a possible way for them to explore the origins of the story? And maybe they are connected to like the planet, because think about it. If these two did fight, they did summon this like storm with these tornadoes and stuff. If they fight over water or something, does it create a hurricane and tsunamis? If they fight over certain areas that have earthquakes, do they do that? Like that's actually a really interesting thought. Now that I think about it, I'm bringing that up. So if they fight each other, would it be another volcano or something? Was 2012 a whole bunch of Hancocks and Charlize Theron's fighting across the planet or something? But that's actually an interesting concept. And maybe, just thought about it. What if, the immortals, the supers, all just said, we're all going to kind of go our separate ways because of maybe them being together caused conflict, and conflict caused natural disasters and war and stuff like that. Yeah, you know what? That actually would not be a bad idea. They could be like, because of, again, Pompeii, because of this, the Hurricane Katrina or something like that, or the tsunami that had ended up hitting Korea, or was it Japan? Or the Philippines. It was one of those, the really bad tsunami. But like, because of our race and its influence, these natural disasters, we decided to either just leave the planet, go to another dimension, or just go to pull a Highlander in game and just sleep it out. You know, so I'm very interested to see what they're going to go with that, and I also want to see the evolution of Hancock's relationship with Jason Bateman's character, as well as further development of Charlize Theron and Hancock's character. Are they like? I mean, I understand that in the first Hancock movie they did establish that yes, they were a couple, they were an item in the day, but now there's it was awkward because Bateman is now his wife, her husband, but Hancock is still technically her husband too. So I want to see the evolution of that dynamic. Are Charlize Theron and Hancock like friends now? Is Jason Bateman having like these issues where he feels insecure around Hancock and his wife? Is he totally cool that they're really cool? How has Charlize Theron's relationship with Jason Bateman evolved over time? Now, the movie did leave it off on this very hopeful and happy ending where Charlize Theron and Jason Bateman are together. They're happy, and Hancock is still friends with Jason Bateman character, and he's fully embraced that he's a superhero now. Now, I do not, it'd be kind of messed up if we do see Jason Bateman's character with Charlize Theron character, and they're like broken up or they're on the rocks or something like that, because you didn't see that in the first movie. But I will say it would be an interesting twist to the story, and it would it would alleviate having to come up with a storyline for their character. Now, I do feel if they did do it in that direction, that it kind of would be a cop out because you couldn't really think of a good story for them to. Like perhaps another interesting idea for Jason Bateman and Charlize Theron's would be that Charlize Theron is like, okay, maybe I'm going to become a superhero too, and he's like, nah, I don't want you to kind of pull an Incredibles 2, where Jason Bateman has to kind of take a step back in the background. Like, think about it. What if Jason Bateman loses a job or something, and she's like has to be the breadwinner, and you know what I'm saying? Pull that Incredible 2 with the roles kind of reversed, where she was like a stay-at-home mom, and he was like the money getter, but make it to where maybe possibly he loses his job because of an incident or something, and he has to be at home, and she has to go get the money. So like that. It would be an interesting dynamic as well. Or perhaps have Hancock be sponsored by someone. He has to work with them. And then kind of have Charlize Theron be possibly sponsored by somebody. Or just have her be sponsored by someone. Like, I would not mind if the story kind of went that way, actually. And perhaps maybe that person that actually is the sponsor be an immortal as well. Or perhaps have these immortals that live among humans, but they decide not to. Or maybe even like have the immortals like like the elite or whatever 2%, like have those be like the immortals, like that'd be a pretty cool actual concept. I did write down, I have another character that's good that possibly has ties to the bad guy but wants to be good, which I could see two more immortals kind of popping up. One is kind of good, like I don't know, like a younger one or something. He's trying to be good, trying to be a hero, and then there's like a bad one that kind of pops up, and then they're like, okay, that's my dad, and I don't know if I should follow that. Kind of have that Regina Mills and Cora storyline where Regina's trying to be good in Once Upon a Time because she's been such a dick for such a long time, and kind of behind the mechanizations of Cora. But now that Regina's kind of on the good side, Cora kind of shows up and trying to take her back to the dark side. So you're kind of playing both sides of the fence. Like, I would not mind that. I think that would be an actual interesting concept as well. And this is another thing I want them to do with this Hancock 2, if it ever gets put out. Sometimes I don't understand these people. Movies that should definitely have gained a following that people want to see a sequel for, they don't want to never put it out. But and sometimes it's studios, sometimes it's the director, sometimes it's the writer, sometimes it's the actors. But just do it, damn it. But also, lastly, I put down bigger stakes. Like in the first movie, it was very personal. Everything that was going on was just personal conflicts. Yes, at the end you had this the fight with the bad guys, but they weren't like, they were just simply, it was personal. It was this guy got hurt by Hancock and he wanted to take out Hancock. So it wasn't like a bigger stake. Like this time around, I would love to see bigger stakes. People's lives are in jeopardy. The world is at stake. You know, you know what I'm saying. I want to see Hancock striving. I want to see people trying to believe in Hancock. You know, so I want it to still be a very personal movie, but I still want it to be bigger in scope and in terms of the themes that it touches, in terms of the story, in terms of the villains, you know, in terms of actual development of Hancock, whether it's to himself or to the world which he's presented to. So those are just some ideas, and I wanted to talk about when it comes to Hancock too. I know I didn't drop into more of the ideas about what I read on the internet, because I read that they were talking about they came up with like 40 different storylines. So that's really interesting, but at the same time kind of scary too, because if we come up with 40, there's a lot of different ways that Hancock 2 could go. But if we come up with 40, that means that you came up with so much stuff because you're not certain about another one. You know what I mean? It's like I could see you come up with 5 like really good ones, and you're like, yeah, we'll just go with these 5. And you know, having multiple stuff is good, but sometimes it's like you stretch all that stuff kind of thin. Did you think all 40 of those storylines out well? Like, could you combine like 3 or 4 of those stories into one? Yeah. But anyways, guys, in the comment section below, let me know your thoughts about Hancock 2. What would you like to see? What are your expectations? Would you like to see the main cast make a return? Who would you like to see introduced as, you know, more immortal characters or even more human characters? Also, did you agree with any of my points? Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification button to know when these videos are uploaded, so you can get instant access to those here on YouTube, as well as stay tuned for Thursdays. And we're trying to maybe upload some videos on Sundays. Now that's my off day, so Sundays and Thursdays, be sure to look at this channel for some more video content, and we'll definitely catch you guys later. Narik signing out.